Marvel Rivals is taking the internet by storm with their unique character designs. So much that, you know what, as an artist, I decided, why not utilize my artistic abilities and make not just fan art. No. I decided to take it to the next level and just draw a superhero out of my imagination. So this is part 2 of doing that, people. All right, so I'm going to show you guys the step-by-step process of drawing this superhero character out of my head. And before we get started, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below in the end of the video of giving a backstory of this, this character. All right, so without further ado, let's dive into it. All right, so this is the character I created. This character has no name, okay? No name, there's no backstory, so you guys gotta help me down below of this character's backstory. So let's get into the step-by-step process. So, like all of these illustrations, I utilize my body, my face as reference, just the body in general as reference, and then I just lower down the opacity and just use my art ingenuity into making this superhero. So when making this, since this is the second part of it, right, I didn't want to make it another male superhero, so I decided to make it a female superhero. So the hardest part when I was drawing this was honestly was the body, because since my body is, is pretty bulky, is big, I didn't want to make her look like she has She-Hulk arms, right, or she looked like Marissa from Street Fighter 6. So I actually wanted to give her more of a feminine feature, which was quite difficult because the reference is the opposite of that. And of course, like Shakira, the hips don't lie. So I wanted to exaggerate on those hips, exaggerate on her body, and give her that older, like Wonder Woman / Chung Lee type of thick thighs type of aesthetic. I didn't want to make her too bulky, just because it would just make her look more masculine. So I actually created that combination of like She-Hulk in terms of feminine aesthetic with a kick of like cuts in her delts, her biceps, and the muscle separation. And that took me honestly like 24 minutes of just alone of the sketch of the body, right? And when it came down to the face, I was gonna give it a front view, but I decided the other character design, I gave it a front view, so I'm like, why not switch it up? And I'm a big fan of 3/4 views. You guys see the other illustrations you guys see in the background. So I gave it a 3/4 view, and I just kept moving from there. I was looking at different like Wonder Woman designs as reference when making this superhero, and you guys can see the reference there with all of the bells and whistles of the chest, the different types of armor plated. So, but while at the same time, being a bit more revealing. Here was the 3/4 view over here. I kept it simple. I didn't look at no references as far as like the face structure. I just did it all out of my imagination. And but I did look at someone else's character design of Wonder Woman with like the hair being all whimsical and it's like more like really exaggerated. Also, I was looking at Black Widow from Marvel Rivals, how exaggerated that looks. So I was looking at that as far as reference of the hairstyle. And then I gave her like a mechanical arm, mainly because I just wanted it to just have the asymmetrical look to it. So one arm is mechanical and the other one has her natural, arm, her own natural skin tone. Try to make her look more unique. And then once the sketch was complete, this is when I utilized the pen tool on Adobe Illustrator. At this point, honestly, I was thinking about making her eyes glow, but I wanted to wait and see once I got into the coloring process. So here I'm just, just going over the whole entire sketch. And the methodology that I've currently am using now, because it is really tedious with the pen tool. So what I do now is that I focus on the detail on the face, and once the face / head is complete, I kind of just go over the bigger shapes rather than get into every last detail. Because the thing about it is that when you utilize the pen tool on Illustrator, if you get so caught up in the little details, it kind of becomes more tedious and overwhelming. So it's best to just get the bigger shapes out the way and then work on the details later. So it's a good way of working smart instead of always working hard. And you guys see this right over here. I end up getting rid of this. I thought it was cool when I made the sketch, but then when it came down to the rendering, I was like, okay, this doesn't really make any sense. All right, so yeah, just continuing with the pen tool over here, and I'll just pop myself right here. All right. So yeah, working on here, and then this is what I just said before. Once I covered up the details of the head and the face, everything else here, I'm just blocking it out. I'm not getting too much detail as far as the pen tool on every little thing. I kind of just worked my way through the outline, and then after that, then I go into all the little detail that is necessary. All right, this is the coloring process. So what makes this really difficult with the coloring process is because of the fact that this is a new character, right? This is no character that exists. So a lot of it was difficult as far as should this color work for this color? Does this work? Does that work? So I was just constantly just trying to figure out what colors will work when it comes down to it. I created that magenta look just because the pink magenta, just give it a feminine tone to it. And then here I gave her more give her more of an interesting orientation. I didn't want it to be she's Caucasian or white. I wanted to have more diversity, just like in the previous one where it's an African American with dreadlocks and he has power. So I wanted to create this diversity, whether you guys can put down below, she's Latina, is she Indian, or she might be alien, right? She might be somewhere from a distant universe, like Starfire from Teen Titans, right? You guys let me know. And I wanted to give it that striking feature, striking feminine look where she's not soft but she's strong, but looking like she's a model type of aesthetic. So this right here, again, the hair part, I was all over the place with the hair because I didn't know what hair complements her skin tone, because you don't want to just have arbitrary hair where it just looks distracting. It looks all over the place. So I kept just playing around with what colors work with her skin tone, and I ended up going with a color that looks almost like Storm in a way. It has this unique look that ironically actually complements her skin tone, and that's what happens when you just keep playing around with colors. And this is what I was talking about, this type of color where it's not white, her hair isn't white, but it has that unique silver type of look. So I wanted to give her that exotic look, like she's not from this planet, or if she is from this planet, her powers change her hair color. And these are placeholders, by the way. When I had these colors, I didn't know exactly how I was going to color the torso. I was really happy with the way this came out over here. And I used the gradient tool as an overlay just to create that that different type of color aesthetic. So later on decided to go for my gold. So I played around with complementary colors with gold and, well, yellow and purple. So that spectrum, right? The complementary and yellow, purple. So I gave her that type of color scheme for her design. Also, her arms right here, I gave that gold as well. When I was making this, it kind of reminded me of like a superhero version of like Princess Jasmine, just because the colors just have like some sort of like Arabic color. You know, it reminded me of like Aladdin, which I wasn't mad about. You know, I was like, okay, that's a unique approach. You know, I haven't really seen a lot of characters that look like this, but yet it's familiar. So I kind of like that combination. I was gonna make this like gray just to like complement her hair, but I just didn't like the way it came out, so I ended up scrapping that idea. Then I use the same gradient over here onto here, as well as the other side of her chest. I think at this point, I believe this is either day 2 or day 3, one of those, but it took me 3 days to finish this design. And you see what I was talking about right over here. I ended up getting rid of this, like that whole bars, that square bars. I was like, it just looked like it was competing with the rest of the design. So I was like, okay, that doesn't work. So fast forward in here, just kept the same color spectrum, you know, like it didn't, I'm a very minimalistic type of person, you know, I don't like to add ridiculous amount of colors unless there's a meaning behind it. But even if it's out of my head, I like to stay true to the foundation of complementary colors. So if I make a design where is red, they'll have a little bit of green because the complementary color of red is green, right? So same here when it comes down to purple and yellow. Hey, I can't forget, I put a lot of detail right here on her golden bedazzle earring. Again, I wanted to give her that influence, like she is like Starfire, right? But my interpretation out of it, where she comes from royalty, and she knows how to carry herself. And yeah, she's very OP, very, very OP. As in very powerful. It's interesting because her physique kind of looks like, I don't know if you guys are into wrestling, but her physique kind of looks like Jade Cargill from WWE. She used to be in AEW. I was thinking about that when I was making this, actually. Like, again, like feminine, but yet it has masculine features, right? But it's not stocky. I didn't want to give her that stocky, overbearing, overly muscular physique. Continuing on, and then I just again continue with the spectrum here. I was having trouble with this lower part, but I just decided, you know what, let me just keep it consistent. Less is more. I use the eyedropper from the top and I just put at the bottom. And then I believe later on I kind of just created a little bit more contrast there. But I did add the gold right over here just to keep it consistent, as well as the gold on her arms. Well, that one metallic that she has there. You guys create a backstory out of that. Is that part of her power, or was it due to a situation where that arm got ripped apart? All right, so now we just, you know, we cleaning house here, you know? So I'm just continuing right here with the arm, which is technically her right arm, right? So it's her right arm over here. I had trouble with this part, by the way. I was just trying to figure out, see, I was gonna make it purple, then I was like, it doesn't look right. It blends with her hair. So I decided just to keep the whole thing gold. Then I added the gradient overlay afterwards, so that way it could look much more, give it that sheen type of look. So yeah, over here, is this an accident, or was she born with this mechanical arm? Let me know down below. So yeah, here I just created like her own type of flames. I was gonna make it blue flames actually, but I'm very monochromatic, so I just kept it within the same family that's going on there with the yellow and purple. So I just gave it yellow flames that make the inners pale yellow. I made this bottom piece here way too dark. When I looked at it, I was like, it doesn't need to have this shadow, even though optically it makes sense if something is in front of a skin, right? There's always a shadow underneath. But then at the same time, it's like, it makes it seem like she got a little pouch. So I want her to have the physique that she has no stomach. She has a flat stomach and her hips don't lie. So I eventually just got rid of that shadow underneath there. I continue with the pants, well, the knee pads, which you guys will see in the end. All right. So I added a gradient over there. But then there you have it, because after I did that, but I didn't show the screen recording of this, I actually created the backdrop for it. I know a lot of content creators, they haven't done any of that with the Marvel Rivals. They just kind of make DC Rivals version of that, but they don't add the vector graphics to it. And that's what I love about Adobe Illustrator, is that you can easily do that. Yeah, you can do it on Photoshop as well, but I prefer using the interface of Illustrator. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Marvel Rivals. So for example, you see with Black Widows, how she has this going on here with the vector graphic in the background, and then it shows the character in the foreground. I did the exact same thing with the previous original character design, and I also did it with this one as well. So I created this overlay for her, and this one here, I literally just use the same figure. Just zoom out so you guys can see it better. Which I can just okay, there we go. I'm gonna show you guys that afterwards. All right, so I literally just used the same figure and I just duplicated and then just made everything purple, and I made some of the objects with the graphics, I made some of those white, and I combine those together, and then that's what you guys just seen right over here. Wish I can you know what, I'll zoom in like this. There we go, that's better, so you guys can see it from head to toe. And let me get myself out of there. So yeah, I added the Gaussian blur here, I forgot to mention that, just to, and also on her earring, just to give it that vibrancy to it, you know, make it more exaggerated. And just like with exaggeration, just like with Marvel Rivals, everything is exaggerated from the hair to their shape. So I wanted to keep that same type of aesthetic from head to the knee. So what do you guys think in the comment section below? Also, share your backstory of this character. I'm going to zoom in even more so you guys could get a better look. She kind of looks like Kim Kardashian a little bit, right? I don't know if that's a good thing. I should say that. Kim Kardashian natural. She didn't get no enhancements except for powers. All right. Like I said, it took me 3 days to make this. Just wanted to show you guys more of a closer view from head to toe. Another thing as well I'll show you guys is the step-by-step of how it looked from beginning to the end. Look at that. Yeah, make this bigger. And this is a prime example that the sketch is not going to always translate perfectly with the vector graphic, and also the sketch is not going to look the same, as you guys can see there. But yeah, from my bulky shoulders and the arms and all that stuff to making them more slender, changing the orientation of the head, and giving the hips don't lie proportions, no BBL, it's natural, and then given this look right here, you guys can see all the way to the right. So I'm really happy the way this came out. Like any artist, you know, you go through ups and downs when making designs. You're unsure how it's going to come out, right? Especially if you have no idea because you're making an original character design. It is a fun but terrifying roller coaster, especially when it comes down to the design, the coloring aspect, the whole 9 yards. So that is pretty much it for the video. Stay tuned. I'm going to be doing more stuff like this, and 30 suggestions of different ideas you guys have in mind down below. All right, so that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.